Hey, folks, can you hear me? You're all on mute there.
First, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Okay.
Sorry for, sorry for attacking like that.
Okay.
It is five.
You're still the man, okay?
Young family.
All right.
Yeah, you can pass them out. I'll pass them out for you.
Okay.
Well, here, I was gonna get, we're going, one of those.
Okay, yeah, you can pass them out for everybody before we start.
Is Rich coming?
No, Rich isn't come, Rich isn't here.
He's online.
Oh, he's online.
Online.
Oh, okay.
Hey, folks.
All right, yeah, pass your stuff out too. We're gonna get the stuff passed out first, then we can start.
All right.
Can I have a copy of that? Can you feed that through the internet?
Can we send them to?
What's
Can we send them? Do you have the email version I could send? You can send to me? Yeah, could you email it to me?
Yes.
Peter will email it to you, Rich.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Don't worry yet.
We have to email it to them.
Online. Oh, it is.
No, they haven't. They have
Can
it.
you,
Yeah.
can you guys check your text messages real quick?
So that'll give you guys a good gist of what we're gonna look.
He's a little bit more detailed than that.
Exactly, that's why I was on the panel, would have been last meeting.
Yeah.
I figured that was.
Well,
If you have an email address, I could send you my email. I'll just email it. to you.
then also like,
Yeah, that was on virtually.
Yes.
I figured we're gonna have a discussion today, so I didn't kind of do too much, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call the meeting to order. If we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Patricia, can we please have a roll call?
Yes. Rebecca Bear,
Present.
George Andrews, Wayne Broner,
He's here.
here, sorry.
and Rich Lamus.
Present.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for Tuesday, September 10th, Finance Committee meeting?
I just want to add to the agenda,
Sure, what's that,
Yeah,
Wayne?
second.
the
Yeah.
well, sorry. I want to add the ID swipe key access availability for the north bus garage.
Currently, if I'm not mistaken, Wayne, they're using a punch code.
No, they're not. They don't have access. They're waiting for dispatchers to arrive and they have keys to unlock the door. So this way, if we use the swipe, the school district knows what bus drivers are entering.
Okay, let's add that to the agenda then. Why don't we add it right before we do the application of payment? How's that sound?
Sure, application, what item is that?
So we'll add, it's under paper towels, we'll add it after paper towels.
Property facilities.
Yeah, right before that, application of payment, look at that, add. Add card swipe,
So are you saying like a 1A or a 2A?
2A. Add card swipe at,
ID swipe
yeah, card swipe, ID swipe at North Bus Lot, okay,
for North Bus Stop.
all right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the addition?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting?
Second.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, forget about me. Go ahead.
it.
All right. With that being said, our first item on the agenda is we're going to hear from PFM and our bond council in regards to the purchase of buses.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. This is my first time here in several years, so I'm very excited to be back in person. I'm Jamie Doyle from PFM Financial Advisors, independent financial advisor to the school district. You should each have a copy of my handout, and I have some good news to share with you this evening. This contains the results of the dual track process that we implemented to seek funding for your bus purchase program. And if you turn to the inside cover or page number 2, I always like to start off talking a little bit about interest rates and market conditions, and this page should look familiar to you. Top snapshot on page 2 is still demonstrating an inverted yield curve, although it's starting to flatten out a bit compared to when we last spoke in August. Middle chart shows this same index going all the way back to 1993. And I want to focus on the lower right-hand corner of the bottom chart. Again, same index, but what you're seeing in that lower right-hand corner is you see that dip down. That was right after the last Federal Reserve Committee meeting. So the language and the takeaway from that meeting was that the Federal Reserve is finally going to decrease short-term lending rates. And so that priced in immediately a 0.5% decrease by the Fed. And then there some other economic indicators came out, and you can see it backed up a little bit, and the market thought only 0.25%. So the Fed meeting's next week. We're all anxiously awaiting the results of that. And depending on who you talk to, it's either going to be 0.25% or 0.5% next week. But right now, 0.25% is what's priced in anticipation of that decrease. If you look at page 3 and 4, we started with the competitive bank loan RFP in the dual track process, and we got a great response. We got responses from 12 different banks. And I'm going to skip page 3 because none of those were the best proposals. They're just in alphabetical order. There's no magic to the order of the bank loan proposals other than alphabetical. And so if you look at page number 4, I drew a green dotted line around the TD Bank proposal. So they submitted a 2-part proposal, but the part that we're interested in is the bottom part. So they proposed an indicative 3.58% fixed, and it is indicative until we actually have the resolution. And at that point in time, we'll lock it in. But that's not a bad thing, because that means we're taking advantage of the fact that we're in a declining rate environment right now. So I called them this morning and I said, can I have a refresh on that indicative rate? I know we're not locking it in tonight, but I just want to give the Finance Committee an update. So as of today, the indicative rate is a 3.38%, which is 20 basis points lower, which is almost exactly what the bond market has done in that period of time also. So the other things we measured on this summary page is what their bank counsel fees would be, and it's $6,000 for TD. In column 4, their true interest cost would be about whatever the rate is. So as of today, about a 3.38%. We didn't update it in this handout because I wanted it to be apples to all the other bank loan proposals that we got. And it will continue to be indicative until September 24th, pending your approval of the resolution on the 23rd. So at the 3.58%, you can see in column 5, estimated debt service of $6,480,926. Just to give you a point of reference or how much that 20 basis points differential changes that number, it's almost $35,000 for that lower 3.38% over the life, but off the bottom line total debt service. Their proposal is for a non-callable issue. So that means, they'll hold it for the entire 5-year amortization of the term. And you can see in column 7, some notes on their proposal. Again, it's an indicative rate. It's subject to margin rate factor adjustment in the event of a federal corporate tax rate change. And what that means, and you have that exact same thing on your last TD Bank loan. You already have a loan in your portfolio with TD Bank. That just means if that federal tax rate goes up, that means your rate would be more beneficial to you, would go down. Likewise, in bullet 3 and 4, they want your audited financial statements and your budget within 270 days of fiscal year end, and that matches the terms and conditions on most of your other debt. They wanted a shorter period, but we got them to change it to 270 days, so it would be the same as everything else, and then they'll be able to get that information off of Emma, because that's where Peter files that every year within 270 days. Then we're comparing it to the bottom row of boxes, the bond market. That's the second part of the dual track process. And so the estimated bond pricing on that day, at that point in time when we received these, was an overall yield of a 3.05%, a lower rate. But as you all know, the bond market, there are additional incremental cost of issuance. So the cost of issuance above that of the bank loan is about $80,000. So all that gets factored in, the lower rate, but the higher costs. And that generated a true interest cost of about a 3.32%, which resulted in estimated debt service of $6,475,000. So very, very close, within $5,000 of the TD bank loan proposal. The bond issue would also be non-callable, so that's the same as TD Bank's proposal. And you'd have a little bit more interest rate risk on the bond issue as far as when you'd be able to lock those interest rates in. So we are suggesting that you consider the TD Bank proposal. Again, as of today, that was a 3.38%. It will fluctuate, but keep in mind that your meeting where you'll consider the resolution is after this upcoming Fed meeting. So I'm hopeful to be able to come back to you and tell you the rate is even a little lower. But it takes 20 basis points to move the bottom line to you, $35,000. If you look at page 5, you'll see a summary of what the TD Bank loan looks like in dollars, payments in column 4, again, based on the 3.58%. And you can see it's a partial payment in the current fiscal year, and then roughly $1,280,000 each year thereafter through and including 2030. If you look at page 6, you'll see the backup amortization to that summary page. So again, you can see the 3.58% in column 3, and you can see the semi-annual payments that Peter would budget going forward in your budget. If you look at page 7, you'll see the cost of issuance, the sources and uses of funds for the TD Bank loan. So you can see the final size would be $5,870,000. That would produce your bus purchase price of $5,791,540. You can see the other costs of issuance listed in that uses section. And anything that's left over on that miscellaneous expenses rounding line will ultimately go into your available to bus purchase line, because we likely won't need all of that miscellaneous rounding. That's just to get the sources to equal the uses at this point. Settlement can be scheduled for October 30th. That's on that timeline that I shared with you previously. And the yield of the issue, that's the rate we'll report to the IRS. That won't be locked in until the 24th. But a very attractive proposal from TD. If you look at page 8, you'll see your overall debt summary. We've added column 11 up above for the TD Bank proposal. This will get tweaked after we lock in the rate and finalize everything. But you can see that. And as always, we monitor this page for refunding opportunities. And I think I shared with you last month that the good news and the bad news is you have really low interest rates on all of your debt in your debt portfolio. So no refinancing opportunities anytime soon. And then the rest of the pages are just the TD Bank proposal in its entirety. And then there's one final summary page then on page 16. I think I hit all of the high points, but it summarizes the important points of the transaction. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I was very pleased with the competitive dual track process, very pleased with this proposal from TD Bank, and very hopeful that the Fed is actually going to decrease short-term rates next week, and I'll be able to report even better news to you after the 23rd.
I'm hoping so.
Yep.
We had a lot of bidders this time. Usually we don't have that many.
You did have a lot of bidders. And that's good. I mean, that's a testament to your excellent credit of the school district. And, it's a testament, I think, also to the size and the structure of this. If this were a longer, larger transaction, you wouldn't have seen this much interest or this attractive of proposals.
Any questions, anybody?
No,
And there's a parameters resolution too that will be passed as well that you guys will be voting on to move forward. I believe it was me see on the agenda, it's here.
And John Cox, your bond counsel from Eckert Siemens is here if you'd like to hear some comments from him on that parameters.
I emailed it out to you guys.
Yes, on that.
Yeah, I did want to make just a couple of observations in the resolution to bring to your attention. So because TD offered us the option of locking the interest rate, which would require a rate lock agreement, which would have breakage fees, and under state law, you can't do that before you have a board meeting. So Jamie and I discussed with administration and recommended that we draft this as a parameters resolution for the board to approve in a maximum principal amount with a maximum interest rate. And then the day following the meeting to lock the rate then with TD. And if something goes haywire between then and we want to wait and have that opportunity, or, this would give us the maximum flexibility to, move forward with this proposal, which is obviously what we're expecting, but also to have a plan B if necessary. So just wanted to point that out to you this evening and ultimately for the board's consideration on the 23rd. So there is a slightly higher, the maximum principal amount is 6.1 million. Again, we're not gonna let you issue more bonds or notes than you need for federal tax purposes. This is just being done for state law purposes so that we can accommodate this pricing schedule with the bank. So that was really all I wanted to point out. Otherwise, the resolution contains all the requirements under state and federal law for you to issue the debt on a tax exempt basis.
Yeah, so the resolution was just because of the fact that there's a gap between now and the meeting date. So that's the only reason we had to do that. Yeah, and that's the only reason is because we don't know, things could go haywire. And just to capture everything, so we don't have to call a special meeting to do anything for that matter. So we're good with that. Thank you.
Yeah, we just, we don't, when you say, okay, we're gonna lock in the date on that date, and you're stuck with whatever the market conditions are on that date. So by doing a parameters resolution, if interest rates go up significantly, 10, 20 basis points, whatever, the day of, then you can wait a day, so then we defer to your financial advisor to make a recommendation on that. But doing the parameters resolution this way gives you that flexibility. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
So in the parameters resolution, it's not the fee that's listed in TD's contract, which is provided, however, the application and margin rate will not in and of itself result in interest rate of the facility in excess of 4.53. It'll be, is that what's in that contract, or is it what's on the page previous?
So they will, the margin rate they're talking about in there is if there's a change in the corporate tax rate,
Okay,
which we don't expect.
okay,
But that works both ways. If rates go down, the corporate tax rates go down, the interest rate will go up.
Mhm.
But, the corporate tax rate is just as likely to go up as it's.
So
If goes
it
up,
actually
then your rate
works.
goes down.
It works in reverse. The
Yeah.
corporate tax rates go down, so if there's a corporate tax rate cut by the federal government, then our interest rate on the loan can go up.
right.
If the corporate tax rate goes up, so if there's a corporation tax increase, our interest rate goes down. So that's just the way, and that's how our other TD Bank loan as well. So it's just it's exactly the same language as our previous
Yeah.
TD Bank loan. And if that were to happen, we could reconvene and we could refinance, and we could repay these loans in quicker. Or we could refinance our bonds and tackle the debt into another issue and solve that problem very, very quickly if there's a problem in that respect. So we will reconvene that at a different time. It's kind of a reverse, kind of not very smart way of thinking about it. If things go, you know what I mean? Like our interest rates go down if things or go up if corporate tax rate goes down. It doesn't make sense, but that's the way this
Nope,
is
It
worked.
makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
And if you guys don't mind, they have like a long 2-hour drive back. So if you have any questions, I'm gonna dismiss them.
Nope,
Take it.
you-
Okay,
go drive.
thank you guys very much for
Thank you.
coming. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you. Have a good evening.
And the next up, I'm gonna introduce Evolve Security to present their metal detector and their weapon grade detection technology. That's right, that's section 2. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. So Evolve will be next up on the agenda. Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you.
Up next.
Evolve.
This one, right?
Yeah, yes, the Evolve.
School security.
School security, and then it'll be me, and then it'll be, that
So the
product.
attachments are the handouts.
Yes.
That's correct. That's,
Okay.
I wasn't exactly sure how this worked tonight, so I apologize for that.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, you guys are.
Oh, no. You're right up my alley. now.
Okay, perfect. Well, good evening.
Just text me about that today.
Good evening. My name is Rocco Zagili and I'm with a company called TWG Security. We're based down in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. My company mainly specializes in video surveillance and access control systems. And now we are starting to see a lot of the selling of these Evolve units, fortunately, but unfortunately for us, right? Just a little bit about the Evolve units. We're not the manufacturer, we're just the representative of them. So if you don't know a whole lot about Evolve units, we're starting to sell them at Hazleton. We just sold a bunch of units to Reading School District. And now we're here to talk to you guys about the same thing. Evolve Express Weapons Detection will help to keep guns, rifles, assault weapons, bombs, or large knives from entering a facility. They are 70% less expensive than metal detectors and 10 times faster. And what that means is they can move through about 500 students every 15 minutes through these lanes. Just picture it's kind of it's a tower, and then there's another smaller tower here, and there's a mat in between, and students are moving through that.
Is it kind of like the airport?
It's kind of like the airport. Yes, and then they're gonna have someone watching the screen. And if someone walks through with something that looks like a weapon, a gun, it'll put a bounding box around that on the screen. And that person will have that person set aside and then do it for investigation. So it's pretty seamless until something is
And are they portable?
they are portable.
So we
Yes,
could move it to the outside if we wanted to for a football game, or we could move it to
absolutely.
a back door or a front door.
Yeah, I've
Correct.
seen them moved to outdoor graduations.
Yes,
Yeah, so.
football games,
Yeah,
graduations, absolutely.
yeah, like they fenced in a graduation and had everybody come to a central point.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because sometimes at the high school level,
Mhm.
you have the student parking in the back, so they go in the back door.
Yep.
And then you have the buses and everybody else that goes in the front door, so you have multiple entry points.
Correct, yes. So the big base is on 2 wheels and it basically flips up and you just push it. So it's very easy to move. Evolve delivers a touchless, seamless, friction-free experience. Evolve solutions are simple to install, operate, integrate, and upgrade. They make it easier for security personnel at the point of entry to do their jobs more effectively. They may, Evolve systems provide an all-in-one security platform that can seamlessly integrate weapons detection with other security products and provide vital data to support security and school operations. And just a little bit about how they work. Each Evolve system is comprised of advanced sensors, cameras, and other physical components combined with an artificial intelligence-based software platform that uses machine learning and analytics to turn raw digital data into meaningful information. So it basically learns. It learns every time it sees something, it just continues to learn.
Yeah.
I love AI.
So let me ask you,
Yes, sir.
oh, Renee, I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, I apologize. I was gonna ask about the cost, but I'm jumping ahead.
That's okay. So we're going to talk about that right now.
Yeah,
So I handed you 2 very in-depth
Yeah,
proposals.
I read through them and I wanted to ask two
One,
questions about them.
and so the easiest way to break this down is one is for a lease option. I actually wrote lease option on one,
Yes,
and one is for a hardware purchase option. And it's just like buying a car. You pay on a lease for 4 years, and at the end of it, you turn it in.
yeah, I just wanted to ask about the lease option.
Yes, sir.
So during the lease option, if at the end of 4 years, there's a new technology or the technology evolves, like the name evolves
Yeah.
to getting something better, would the district have the option to trade that technology in and then get something better in 4 years?
You would have the option to lease another.
Like we'd be able to so,
Yes.
and if something under the lease, that brings me to my second question. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on you guys' toes.
You're thinking like me.
And so if under the lease option, if something were to happen to the machine, would you guys replace it because we're paying, like we don't own it, so we lease it?
Yes.
So that would be a benefit than owning it. Because if we own it, then we're SOL, we're out of luck kind of type of
Yeah,
thing.
that's okay. You can
Sorry,
say-
sorry.
We buy a warranty.
Yeah, so unless we buy like a warranty or something, like that type of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
like the software upgrades. Yeah, so we get software upgrades too, for like in the
It's
soft,
included in the lease.
It is included in the lease, yeah. So basically, I made this little spreadsheet for you to try and break this down and make it much easier for you guys. So the first one is the hardware lease option. So that's obviously the lease. And as you see, if you look down at the second line, we're quoting you for 10 single lane indoor units. And per year, it's, you know, $330,600. And then they come with licenses or software. We also quoted you for 10 there, and that's $495,000 per year.
And this would cover all of our schools?
This would cover, is that correct, Chief? You wanted it for all schools, correct?
I saw 2 for high school north, 2 for high school south, 1 for Lehman, 1 for JTL, and 1 for every elementary school in their proposal when I read it. Is that correct?
Is that 11?
No, we have,
You're 10 schools,
we
right?
can get 10. Some of the elementary schools, we can use the older version
Correct, yeah.
of we have. And we can use those in the high school, so we got 10. We have.
That way-
And they're portable.
we have
Yes.
Things that we use in the elementary schools, which is much less crap. So we'd be good at that.
So this per year, it's either 35,000 or 53,000, depending.
I'm pretty confident we might get a grant.
That's a good thing. That's what schools are using their grants for.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Hopeful.
That's something new.
Is that the PCCD grant?
Yes.
Is that the federal one?
No, that's a state one. That's a state one.
The state one just did.
No, I'm talking about the federal one from 2022. It was on Good Morning America
Get that
today.
and use it
Okay.
already, Chief.
I'll check with Andy.
Yeah.
You can remember what it was, I'll check with Andy and see if we can apply.
They encouraging every school district across the nation.
I mean,
And
if I were a
see
school
this
district, I'd be going after grant
I
money
see
because it's
that.
available.
Aligning up for just this.
We have fabulous grant writers, so.
Good.
It was a bill that was signed after Uvalde incident.
I'll check it out. I'll talk with Angela tomorrow.
Please do.
Yes,
I hear it's a SOB to fill out.
they all.
Yeah, they're all,
That's why we have.
Cumbersome.
grant writer waiting.
I know.
No, the federal grant writer it was extremely cumbersome when we did a federal grant for, we got a federal grant from the Department of Justice. And it required me to submit, just me as just requesting money, it required me to give like copies of my social security card and my driver's license and probably my firstborn child if I have one, so.
And
Yeah, and an arm, and so it did require a ton of documentation for us to go through, but yeah, but it's worth it because if we can get that money to secure purchases such as this. As I would probably prefer the lease option over the hardware purchase option, just simply because you get the software upgrades and that comes along with it, and then at the end of 4 years, the board can decide and the district can decide how successful and how easy it was to operate. And then if we want to continue doing that, you can come back and present the newer upgrade model, or in the middle of this lease, you can say, hey, there's something newer out there and more efficient and better at detecting it. Because this technology, correct me if I used to be a security officer before my when I was
but you also receive the upgrades on the purchase option as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so I was gonna point that.
Yeah.
Per year or just the 800,000?
No, it's 200. If you look at page
Yeah, look at
3,
The bonds is doing.
yeah, if you look at page 3 here, it goes on what year.
One says that's like.
Oh, yeah.
But on the column here, it says 3 year.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, it says, hang on one
That's why I was
second.
asking.
Yeah, that's in, so if you look at those boxes at the bottom right hand corner.
I'm looking at the thing.
Total price for a 4-year term for the lease is $881,000, and it's broken down a little differently than if you were to purchase. It's more level set. It's about $261,000 for the first year, and then for years 2, 3, and 4, it's $206,000.
whereas the other one, we have to pay up front $600,000.
Correct.
Yeah, and this
And
one,
then
so if we did it for this year, so if the finance committee decides tonight that they want to move this forward, they would have to pay 261, 260, 273 for this year.
Yes, and then it's a 4-year commitment.
Yeah.
Each option is a 4-year.
That's why I was asking, because it.
Yeah, I don't have a I don't
It's
have,
gonna
I
happen,
think,
and I know we're gonna grant.
yeah, I think I would think that my recommendation would be to put it forward, push it forward.
Yes, and then
I think,
it's total price for a 4-year term for the lease is $881,000, and it's broken down a little differently than if you were to purchase. It's more level set. It's about $261,000 for the first year, and then for years 2, 3, and 4, it's $206,000.
Yeah, I would prefer, I would think that my recommendation would be to put it forward. So the board can then vote tonight or make a motion when it comes up, time to move things
Will
forward.
we allow Peter to apply for a grant post purchase for this to like back it in, or do we have to get the grant before we buy?
Most of the time you have to get the grant before time,
Yes,
but,
that's correct.
but in this, but
We need to find out.
we need to find out. We have 2 weeks to find out, so the board can table this if you move it forward to the,
Okay.
because you have 2 weeks to find out. So we'll have
Okay.
time for the finance committee to put it forward. You could table the board as a whole. If I recommend that we table it until we can get the grant. And then the board just table it till October, because when you just table something, just postpone it for a month. And the board can reevaluate
The
it,
last thing I would want to do is buy it and then not be able to.
get the grant. Yeah, so if,
They get the grant and then they say, oh, sorry, you can't use the grant for this, you already purchased it.
right, so what I would do is I would move it forward with the anticipation of getting a grant, and then if you don't get a grant. Or if the grant isn't, if there's not a grant available, or we've gotten the grant that Wayne's talking about, and we use it for something else, or. We just don't have, we just can't, we're not in that realm, or whatever the case may be, I can give you some more information. At the board meeting on the 23rd. And then you guys can decide if you want to move forward with it, or if you want to table it for a month until we can get the grant application in the process and go move forward with it.
I'm pretty confident this is exactly what the grant monies are for.
It is.
Yeah.
It's listed in.
You can't supplant,
Is
so
it?
I,
Yeah.
but I still think either way, we can find, something. We could find some way to make it work at.
I'm gonna do
260
Rosemary Brown.
I may see you tomorrow at soccer.
Okay,
So I think we got a state grant that was $200 and some thousand as well, that we could
Use for this.
use half of it or use a piece of it for it as well to offset some of the cost of it as well. So I don't think the whole cost of it would come out of the district's
I
pocket.
think it'll make it a lot easier, something like this versus what happened when we had our incident the other day,
With all the kids going through the metal detector.
or even people checking bags.
Increase 500 students for 50 bags to take notes. To get it through.
Mhm.
You use different areas.
Yeah.
So basically, what we have here at the South School, which is 1,400 students, if you split it up, you're talking maybe 25 minutes.
Mhm.
That, not even, yeah.
Not even, yeah.
You said what, 500?
And you could use it,
Yes, sir.
use it daily, right? Every day you could use
No,
it.
per 15 minutes.
You could use
500
it,
per 15 minutes.
So
500?
you use it every day.
Yes, sir.
So if we had 3 of them here, we'd get this whole school done in 15 minutes.
And you could use it daily, Chief said, so.
So we can be at the door every day. They have to walk through the back door and the front door and just be there. They have to walk through it every day.
And we have 10 units, we can use 3 here, if you need it over at elementary school, you take it over to elementary school. So we got a lot of options.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Make it fair. You gotta go to your daughter. and
Okay, all right, you could,
What does she play? Okay.
you could leave then too. You're okay. Thank you for coming.
so you don't live in Nazareth?
What's that?
You don't live in Nazareth?
No, we don't, we actually live in the country.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So number 2 was just me, and I didn't leave anything there because I wanted to keep you guys in suspense
Yeah.
for that. I don't have a presentation because it's basically, I got information on the tax equity payment.
The what?
The tax equity payment that we got as our part of our, remember I presented to you guys back what the state budget gave us?
Yeah.
Well, there was a $5.5 million extra that they gave us in that money, right? They were giving us this year, that I thought they were giving us this year. They are not giving it to us this year. They are giving it to us this year, but we can't spend it until 25, 26.
Okay.
So the money's gonna sit in our bank account and just sit there.
So it means 9 million.
No, it's gonna be back down
It'll
to,
be back.
yeah, so it's gonna be what we budgeted for, basically.
Okay. And then we just got another grant too, a small one for 37,000.
Yeah, we're gonna abate some work, we're gonna do some work at JM Hill. But we'll present that at the PNF committee when it comes up. We're gonna present, I'll have Daryl and Daryl and Rob talk about that the next PNF committee in October. So that'll be something that they bring up in October, okay? So I don't wanna let the cat out of the bag on that one. I'll let Daryl and Rob talk about that. There is so that's actually up. We didn't get the full 50%. We got 25 or 20, how much did Angela say? It was 25, 27, 28% of the project scope. So I'll let Daryl and Rob talk about that, what has to be done there at that particular school. So what the $5.5 million in tax equity payment, you'll get it, but what we have to do as a district is we have to approve a resolution that follows the Act One timeline. So when we do the Act One budget resolution the board agrees not to raise taxes to the Act One or above the Act One index, which you'll do like you do every year. You will do that, and then along that same line, you will also pass another resolution that will say what you're going to do with the tax equity money that you're going to get.
Don't we have to lower say we have a lower?
No, you don't have to do that. There's 5 different conditions that you can do, and I will go over that with you when we get closer to that. One of them was you can increase your homestead farmstead exception number by that, use that 5.5 million, which just helps the taxpayer, which I don't understand why the state just didn't give money back to the taxpayer directly and make us do it. The second thing was you can increase the senior rebate that you give to the seniors that apply for the rebate. The third was you can offset your assessment losses that you did, and number 4 was pay your debt off quicker, and the 5th was offset your assessment, or I think I said maybe your assessment losses. I don't know. I'll get you all 5 of them that you can use it for. Or the 5 was offset tax increases that you guys didn't do, that you guys haven't raised taxes for 15 years. So I think you guys have done that. I could show you the chart that shows you exactly the tax increases were like this for years, and then when you did the reassessment, it went down like this, and then it went like this.
Yeah.
So you guys haven't raised taxes at all for all these years.
We did one time.
Why, then it was erased by tax assessment appeals.
Yeah.
So there's a tax assessment appeal sitting out there where you guys are going to lose $1.5 million that we've talked about. So I think there's an important thing that that's why we need to talk about it, and we will talk about it when we get closer to that date, what the board wants to do as a whole with the money. And talk about the assessment, how much money you guys have lost over the last 5 years with assessment appeals and things of that nature. Because once you set that resolution, you have to change it. You have to set another resolution to change it. And I was told by the state when I had the conference call that you're going to get that money every year. So it will be an every year thing. You will get that extra money. So it's not just a one-time thing, that you're supposed to get it every year. So we have to decide what we want to do with it. Now, I don't know, giving it, if you raise your tax, if you raise your homestead farmstead giving out, it doesn't help eliminate the deficit at all, because it's just a pass through. If you could raise the senior rebate, which would be a very good thing, but that once again doesn't affect the deficit that the district has. Offsetting the tax increases, you guys haven't raised taxes in all these years, which would be beneficial to the district. And you have lost a lot of assessment values because of commercial losses. And paying off debt, you can put it directly towards the debt that we have, and you could pay off debt readily, a little quicker. So there are things that you guys can do with it, and we'll talk more about it as we get closer to it. But I just wanted to give you guys that update from it, that the money cannot be used until 25-26 fiscal year.
Well, originally, we weren't sure we were gonna get it every year, is that?
Right, and so we weren't sure we're gonna get it every year, but I was told by people at the state that the intention is to get it every year.
That's a change in what.
That was a change with what they said. So they said it was gonna be rolled into our ready to learn grant that was gonna be given to us every year into the base, but it only could be used for certain conditions. And that's what you can use it for. And then if you change it, you have to submit another resolution and go through those changes again. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of it, so that it doesn't hit you like a lead balloon when I present these options to you when it comes down to the preliminary budget time and the budget resolution. You guys aren't going to go above the Act One index anyways. You guys never do, and I don't see a need to do it. But because of your surplus amounts of the fund balance you guys have, so there's not really necessarily a need to do it. So I don't think there's going to be a problem doing that. So I'm just going to show you guys what the options are, what I think the recommendation is, and then the board can make their decision as to what they want to do and follow that, go with there. Okay. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys about. So
next we have.
Daktronics.
Yeah.
So sorry guys, you were last.
They were last night too, unfortunately, so I think they're used to it, right?
Oh, okay.
You were first the other time.
Okay.
All good.
There we go. Well, appreciate the time to present to you all. I know we've had a lot of Daktronics in the last few weeks, but appreciate now that my time has come. Did everybody get the two handouts I had sent? The one is the Central Columbia. Yep, those two. Perfect. I'll reference those. But again, my name is Pete Reifenrath. I'm with Daktronics Sports Marketing. I head up the East Coast for us. Been with Daktronics 14 years. My role within Daktronics and as it pertains to the project is to make sure the boards are revenue generating from game one and into the future. A little bit about Daktronics Sports Marketing. Since 2012, we've installed over 300 video displays and 800 scoreboards and generated over $75 million through 400 plus business partnerships per school. As you can see on my slide, on average, most schools bring in about $50,000 in sponsor revenue through our projects. How we do that? I know that's probably the big question. I have the market evaluation and then the proposal. The market evaluation is kind of our first step. Essentially what that is, you have the physical form, but it's now a virtual link to a website. And essentially what we want to do is take a look at both facilities to get an idea of how many people come through on an annual basis, number of events, both athletic and community. So then we can obviously relay that on to potential sponsors, but it also gives us the ability to, compare this location to other communities in PA, nationwide, in similar socioeconomic areas. So we can really start to hone in on the right price point. So as we go into conversations with sponsors, we have some confidence in what we've put together, matching the value of the inventory to the number of spectators to obviously the price we're going to pass along to sponsors. Secondarily, within that document, it also is an inventory checklist of what we would be willing to offer a sponsor in return for their investment. So obviously with a video board, we can do actual logos on the screen, 30-second commercials, game sponsorships, feature entitlements, which are your first down, touchdown, timeout sponsors. We'll take all that information and create a customized sponsor proposal like the one we have there for Central Columbia that should pretty well spell out soup to nuts everything a sponsor would need to know about the project, from the student involvement to the inventory, what they're receiving in exchange for their investment, to some of the outside of the box ideas, the movie nights, the watch parties for teams that go on to district or state events. For those that can't make it, where are we going to watch it? Bring them out on the turf. But it's kind of our physical PowerPoint for the conversations and going out and talking with sponsors about the opportunity. Obviously, the big question I think we caught wind the other meeting was, who's going to go out and do this? Well, we help along with you. Obviously, we put together the materials for it, work in coordination and figuring out the prospect list of who we'd go after. But then I'll come up on 2 separate 2-day trips with whomever from the district or each school.
I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So since we have 2 campuses.
Yep.
Is there like a flat fee to go on both? Because I don't,
Yep.
Obviously down here is more of a crowd comes because it's
Yep.
an in-town school.
Yes.
We're up north, we tend to have less businesses
Yep.
up there. So
You,
would we be able to package so
that,
north isn't losing out because
yes.
south gets more foot traffic?
That's what I would recommend, because a lot of projects, if we're working with just one individual school, a lot of times we're doing gym and the stadium. But then obviously baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, those programs that don't get the type of, audience that a varsity football event does, almost to the same degree. We basically package that all into one project and sell it as across the board, because the sum of the parts are better than the
Is
individual.
ours just for the football fields, or is it also for the inside in the gyms for basketball?
Right now it is just the stadiums.
Okay.
Yep. Good question. So that, I hope that answers kind of who's going to go out and do this. So, and then ongoing, we have a contract fulfillment team that once we get to the point of getting commitments from sponsors, we have a team of people that'll reach out and collect all the inventory we've promised, commercials, 30-second or game day sponsorship, so that when the product ships to the site, when you do your training, we'll work to go through a game script of knowing when to play what for each sponsor. So we're not over promising and under delivering. It's on a scheduled basis.
It's important also to make sure that the Wi-Fi for both campuses are working properly in order to get this. I'm assuming it needs Wi-Fi and
It does not. Nope.
Okay.
We recommend it. It doesn't absolutely necessary, because it's as easy as bringing, the files on a jump drive and loading it onto the computer to site. We recommend it because it makes it easy from a service standpoint. If there is an issue, you fire it up on a Wednesday, you call our service team, they can bomb guard and remote access into the system to diagnose what the issue is, so we can get a tech out, who's already 10 yards down the race of identifying what that issue is and rectifying it for that Friday night
Just
event.
the reason why I ask is sometimes on the other campus north where my kids go and Wayne can attest, sometimes Wi-Fi isn't, even if you have the best Wi-Fi up there, it may not be the best Wi-Fi just because it's,
But I thought we resolved that problem.
it's still spotty even when we have Wi-Fi up there.
I thought we resolved that this year.
It is useful from a service standpoint, but from a game operation, all that it would be loaded on your server on that rack. So it's already preloaded, just a point and click from a scheduling basis. So it's not necessary absolutely to run it through Wi-Fi.
Just because sometimes it just goes down in general, living up there. Whether it's the school's fault or just the powers that be, if a tree blows the wrong way.
We run into it a bunch. Yep. I would say that proposal from Central Columbia, that's just a good reference for you to take a look at. We'll customize one for this project. Obviously, I talked about before, making sure it's a soup to nuts document. Everything we want to have a sponsor in the know, want to be included in that, all the way on down to obviously from a pricing standpoint, what we're asking. That market eval too, I failed to mention, obviously we traditionally put together a list of different sponsors, but also a different tiered system of sponsor levels. Our top level, it's our nomenclature. We can certainly change it for this project, but it's that anchor partnership. And we'll kind of dive into it. I know you guys don't want to go into option 3 for too long tonight, but those permanent signed sponsors, those are going to be your main, objectives to go after when we're having these conversations. But we're going to have an all digital package, maybe 2 or 3 of those. So those sponsors, your mom and pops in the area, there's going to be an area on the board from a sponsorship perspective that's inclusive to any size organization in the area.
Graduation, a parent can purchase a
Bingo.
shout out.
Yep, that absolutely, have a ton of schools doing that. The only thing I push back a little bit on is getting your feet wet with the system, making sure we're able to, fulfill everything we're promising from a sponsor perspective in year 1, but year 2, we have plenty of schools that do anniversaries, birthdays, graduations, all to the like, but you want to make sure you're crawling for your walking for your running, just because it can be a little bit much, because that's where that game script is quite important in terms of outlining when we're playing what from a community school sponsor perspective. But once you get a gist of kind of how the game flow is going to be, the band coming on and off the field, there's certainly opportunities for items like that.
Now you have a class that you teach the kids, right?
Oh yeah, yep. Kim talked about curriculum.
Both high schools have.
It's similar to what the class that we already have.
That's what I'm saying, then they could teach the kids what we need for this, to run the signs.
Yeah, I think, but her class was a little bit different than that. Hers is more video production and stuff like that.
It's content creation, it's
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
Last night.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it's similar to the production class we have in place
Yeah.
at the school already.
Yeah.
It could complement it, but.
Yeah. It's designed to be a standalone complementary. I mean, it can get down to the brass tacks details of even washing in the display. So it's really quite comprehensive in terms of.
Just another education.
Can you buy those a la carte, or does it have to be the whole kit and caboodle for the class?
So I think we have a couple of different options. There's one for that 15 licenses, so students can work behind the scenes on their own. There's a couple of different levels of involvement, and if Kim wasn't clear, we can get some
Yeah,
clarity.
Oh, that the DAC class, that was
Yeah.
the 2 administrative fees for each school, so each school would have it.
Right, yeah, that's what you're talking about, but I
Yeah,
wanted
that's what
to
we-
do like a la carte
Yes.
instead of, because we have, like we said last night, we just purchased 2 new studios, both for north and south, so we have a
Yeah.
huge TV studio. For the
All
kids
that.
already.
All your hardware, all that sort of stuff we're selling the software. So there's 13 chapters. If you wanted to use 7 of them, you just use 7 of them.
Okay, but you have to buy them all, so what was my question?
We sell it all in one shot.
Right, so I can't go through the checklist and say, oh, I like this one, we'll take this one, okay.
No.
And then the other question I had is, is that per game on page 6 that they actually 610 per game, or is that five game, 5 goes into 610?
Which one?
in their proposal here, like the one that you
They
showed,
have 610.
is that 610 per game?
Yeah, that's per event, and then that's number of games, so
They get
multiply that.
145 people to come to a JV and varsity soccer game. That's really
Yep.
good.
Yep.
I wish we did. At either campus.
But yeah, that's gonna make it really valuable to us in terms of pricing these based off other projects we've worked on, obviously the eyeballs for sponsors.
Now, how do we gauge that? Because for soccer.
Yep,
You know, field hockey, all those types of sports besides football, we don't do ticket sales.
yeah, so,
And we don't for students either, but they just show their ID and walk through.
yep.
So how do we gauge that for the vendor?
A lot of it's estimation. I mean, it's our best guess for those schools that aren't out there with a gate ticketer. We want to get some idea. I mean, not over promise and under deliver, but certainly get some type of idea. I mean, even if it's, 50 people for a walking club on the track, I like to try to account for as many people as possible. They're not looking for the exact number. We're just trying to give it our best general estimate. So go ahead.
This could even be used then too, even though we don't use the scoreboard for track and field in the.
Oh, it's designed to be integrated with Finish Link software. So those
So we
runners.
All the stats up top.
Yeah, as soon as they cross the finish line, it auto populates what the results are lane by lane
Okay,
seamlessly. Yep.
And the one that's for graduation, that's the number of attendees for the graduation.
Yeah.
we get
Total?
more than that.
I would say a big reason why they did that project was the production they put on for graduation. To the point where I'm almost positive they used to rent a screen for just graduation. That's their big night. They go all out when it comes to that.
Well, I guess my question is, how big a school is the high school at the?
Central Columbia.
It's not very big.
No, it's by me. It's
Huh?
about 20 minutes from me. It's not very big.
And they have a
It's
good
smaller
football
than
team.
Much smaller, much
That's what I
smaller.
was asking, that's what I was asking.
So 3A, 2A probably, something like that.
Well, I think it's 2A.
I used to
I
it
was
too.
curious because, these numbers and all were.
But I know Central Columbia is a very good football school.
Well, I just was.
No, you're thinking of Southern Columbia.
Southern Columbia, okay.
Yeah, Central Columbia is not very good.
Okay, I'm thinking the other one. okay.
Oh, don't, I'm on record.
Southern-
No, they're fine.
Jeff Groshek isn't listening.
Yeah, no.
I get them mixed up, I apologize.
Southern Columbia is a powerhouse.
Yeah, Southern Columbia is the district you're thinking of. Southern Columbia is further south, but yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, and moving on, just kind of some of the benefits of the sports marketing. The big question is, what does it cost? What do we take? We don't take a cut. We don't take a commission. Every dollar we help you raise, you keep, you allocate. However, a lot of times schools will ask, well, what's in it for you? This is a project that is larger than what a traditional school is looking to do. Obviously, we're trying to build this out with students, get as much community involvement. So obviously, from our experience, this is almost like the video technology at the professional level. It obviously went down to college and now it's seemingly here at the high school. Same exact thing with sports marketing. Obviously, it started in the professional setting. You get down to college with IMG and Learfield, and then we fit that bill come the high school market. So again, it's one of those, if we don't go above and beyond to make this a cash generating asset, we don't have a story to tell like the video I'm going to show you here shortly that covers kind of the project we did at Central Columbia. The other one I touched on a little bit, the on-site sponsorship help. I'll come to the area, twice on two full day occasions. It's my goal when I come to the area is to get in front of and present to as many sponsors as possible, especially trying to lock down our larger targets. But then at the same time, I'm here to help coach your group up on how to have these ongoing conversations, because I'll show you a couple of projects we've done here recently. They were great when I was in the area, but they've continued to take that fishing pole to build out the number of sponsors and the amount of revenue they're able to generate. So it's not just trying to set you up success game one. It's really trying to give you that ability to incorporate any number of sponsors into the future. Then I kind of touched on a little bit about our contract fulfillment team. Everything we're going to promise sponsors, we have somebody that's collecting all of that. So it comes on the computer. It's seamless in terms of the operation come Friday night. The last thing we're going to try to do is set you guys up for failure, overpromise and under-deliver. So when it comes to that inventory for Central Columbia, a lot of schools will say, geez, those sponsors didn't get a whole heck of a lot. Well, it was designed that way. It's supposed to be tastefully incorporated to make sure we're not taking away from what's most important, the players on the field. And I talked that first meeting about some of the map, just kind of showing some of the schools we worked with. Obviously, Kim had presented last night talking about the curriculum. This is just the state of PA with the colleges and some of our major high school installations. It's quite robust. Obviously, this is designed for those students that take a liking to the curriculum, want to do it at the collegiate level. Obviously, we have no shortage of those schools we can get them connected with. But certainly nationwide, if they go out of state, we have just as many opportunities for those students to get on board as we do here in Pennsylvania. Touching on a couple of those other projects, I have the Central Columbia, the Southern Lehigh and Riverside projects up here, just to give you an idea of what they were able to generate from a revenue perspective. And this is all just based off of the days I had committed to coming to the area for those meetings. Central Columbia raised $275,000. Southern Lehigh, $125,000, and then Riverside, here we are 3 weeks in, and most of the meetings we had were virtually on Microsoft Teams, are sitting at about $150,000. And I put plus only because, as I mentioned, this is only resulting from the 2 days I spent with each of these schools. But I certainly know from personal experience in talking with these schools, they've continued to build out that sponsorship program and incorporate more sponsors year 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I've got a video, hopefully, let me see if my sound is on, just kind of pretty encompassing.
Like other areas who don't have a town. We are in the center.
You guys getting feedback?
Columbia Valley. So that's where you get Central Columbia.
Just
Very physical in the community.
I give it like small, quaint farmland, but like with like a small little like town that's like, it's cute.
Beautiful area where you can get to some river. Central Columbia is.
Oh, that's okay. The Central Columbia is about 1,900 students in Central Pennsylvania, in Central Columbia County. 19.
Come to help you with that.
Like other areas.
There you go, George. Yeah.
We are in the center of Columbia County, so that's where you get Central Columbia.
As you get older and you want to raise your family, you want to come here because it is a very good, close-knit community.
I give it like small, quaint farmland, but like with like a small little like town that's like, it's cute.
Beautiful area right next to the Susquehanna River.
Central Columbia is actually one of the top 50 districts in the state.
A rural school district. As a superintendent, obviously, I have to be fiscally responsible, and there was no way we were going to purchase a Jumbotron. I thought my high school principal, Adam Comstock, was nuts.
And he was like, "You're crazy." I never let it go. He never let it go. He came to me one day and said, "Listen, I'll make you a deal. I might get you 2 video boards if you can find a way to get kids involved." I thought, oh, well, that's easy.
My first 2 years, I was in the ag science pathway, but I switched over to this pathway because I liked doing this stuff more. So if we need to put something in like this graphic for Athlete of the Week, we go hit the plus button, and then we'd go to browse.
We had someone come in from Daktronics. He taught me and like 2 other students who have since graduated how to run like the board and everything, and it was pretty easy.
We give them all 8-second headshots. Their names come on the screen, and everybody gets a big kick out of that. Other schools come here and go, wow.
This is something that I want to do in college and possibly down the road.
I already have one student who is going to university, and they have a Daktronics system. She's being hired currently to work there at the college.
You think about those athletes that might get involved. We do have those. We also have those kids that have not an athletic bone in their body.
I don't know anything about sports, but for the most part, like I know what I'm doing.
Last year, we had our business and our communications kids go to the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs Stadium, which is, I think, AAA with the Phillies, since it's the same Daktronics equipment that we have. We had 2 of those kids job shadow with the communications team there, and they produced a podcast for the week. They edited all that stuff. That wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the boards.
Pete said that this could pay for itself. I didn't believe him. I actually told him that we are not a Philadelphia school where there's a lot of money.
Mr. Groshek was like, oh man, I'm just gonna sit down in my chair when we go see these people because I know they're not gonna give it to us.
Well, after our first 5 meetings with businesses, we were done. Because the first 5 committed to give us $50,000.
The first question is, how much? And you go, with the right sponsorships, nothing.
It's now become a revenue source when someone may ask me for a big ticket item, like our ag program, a tractor. That's the account we go to. So this has now become a revenue source. Yeah, the marquees, we have them outside of the high school as well as in front of the elementary school. We advertised 2 weeks ago that we were having a movie night on the turf. We had over 400 people show up watching. I believe at that time it was Lion King. And in addition, it was a fundraising event. The middle school raised over $4,000.
When we do our big pep rally every year for homecoming, we usually have 2 or 3 students running around with the camera. We'll show them up on the board.
I was fortunate enough to be at Westside High School in Anderson School District 5 down in South Carolina. That's what I wanted to bring here, and that's what I envisioned, and it's coming to fruition.
South Central being Texas.
Should be good. And then that's all we have. Do you guys have any questions? We certainly have the other designs we had talked about a couple weeks ago.
So you guys will partner with us to help us build this out and work with us in doing this?
Correct. Yep. From year 1 to year whenever. I still have schools every fall reach out. Did project, been with Daktronics 14 years, 8 years ago, trying to reshape what they're trying to do from a sponsor perspective. So
Because I have some ideas with businesses and sponsors and dollars that we can raise, so if the board goes with this, I think you and I could have some very fruitful discussions right out of the gate to get those 5 spots filled up real quickly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Jab Fest too, that's right, Jab Fest is a huge.
Listen, I've been wanting to talk about fundraising. There's a lot of businesses that have approached me about donating money. I don't have really an outlet I can't accept donate. The school can't really accept donations on their own because we're not a 501c3 organization, so we can't issue tax credits for that. But I have some ideas that I'll run by with some people here and stuff. So Peter, we'll have some discussions and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to take this on and help the district and help the students as much as we possibly can with this and take a lead on this with you guys. So on behalf of the board and the community.
I'm interested too, to see how it works and then possibly, do the indoor ones as well for the basketball.
Yeah, when we take the step forward, we, like you said, crawl before you walk and walk before you can run. But yeah, it's definitely, but I think I saw Wayne's reaction when it came to advertising on the marquee. We have a marquee out here. There's a lot of different things we can do. And I think this is just the first step forward that we can take. And then we just build it out as we continue to go. And the district's in the middle of a transition between now and a new superintendent. So I think this is a great step for the new person to come in and really take this by the horn.
Be nice too, that they can.
Yeah,
Yeah, to as far as esports, that's
Right.
a big thing now, where they're doing Madden and Fortnite. A lot of schools are doing it out on the turf now, but we tell schools it's been designed in South Dakota to be ran in salt fog, in water, in ice. You can't break it, but you can underutilize it. So if there's any opportunity to present to a larger or a smaller group, any ideas you want to use it out on the
so
turf.
here's a question I have, and this is not with this, but you guys have no problem installing this in the winter, right?
No, we do may need a little bit of a window where the ground is soft enough.
Yeah, well, I think we've talked about this, but I just want to make sure that, you know, because we're gonna, if the board so the board agrees to do this at the September 23rd meeting, you guys won't be able to install it till January or February. I mean, you know.
Oh, it'll be fine, as long as there's not a.
It's January, it's January in Northeast Pennsylvania, nothing's ever fine.
No, so that's Central Columbia.
You know what I mean, Joe, you know.
So you live near Central Columbia, that actually.
I do, I live, it's near Berwick and I live about 10 minutes from.
That was installed in January.
Okay, I know, I
Yeah.
listen, I just know, I mean, I fall on the ground all the time, I hit my head and it's not
I don't
fine.
mind the winter. It's like-
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah. We
yeah,
get wind up at north.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have engineered stamp plans so that we can go to our local municipalities for building permits.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's, yeah.
yeah, they'll go through the permitting and they'll do all that stuff, so they do the installation.
That's all we need.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You guys have any more questions?
No, I wouldn't emotion, when we come to the motion, I just want to make sure that we can train representatives from ESYA on the use of the scoreboard because they're, you know, they use this football stadium.
Yeah, we will work with
I want
the representatives from Daktronics when they come in to make sure that those people will be involved in the training, when we're
Yeah.
training our people to.
That'll be no problem. So obviously, there's gonna be a full training involved, but all of it's recorded, you know, for some of these schools that are smaller that
Fine.
have turnover, their teacher leaves, and then getting that person back up to speed, and then not to continue down keep talking, but we have a video user summit for the East Coast. So we had it at Governor Mifflin this year.
Probably have you guys host it.
Yeah, where we have a site where our high school users meet in one area, talk about the latest and greatest and what are they seeing, share, you know, clean music playlists, ideas, and then we usually bring in one of our high level operators. It might be the Phillies or Penn State, and comes in to talk about what you should be teaching your students to look, you know, around the corner from a vocational standpoint. So we have no shortage of resources from a training perspective.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
The only thing I would say, I don't know, is the nice thing with this school district, East Stroudsburg, the university has our park, but. So we just read football in there, they have basketball, so that's another resource.
So our kids can learn here and then work there too.
Yeah, and that's kind of what was one of the catalysts for the conversation too, was at East Stroudsburg. And we're using this through a cooperative purchasing agreement through Sourcewell, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was part of the discussion too, so there's no issue with the bidding process.
And then we could use the advertising revenue to pay for it as we go along, or we can use it for other things as well.
The initial purchase we'll be buying, we'll take it out of the capital reserve fund,
Right.
so that's what, but yeah, we will be able to use that to offset some of the expenses as we raise the money for it as well.
Or even
So
for-
to buy, you could use the money to buy new boards too, you could earmark that money to say, hey, we want
Use
to.
for the basketball courts.
Right, the basketball court, and say, we want to earmark this money towards, right, and you could say, so what you can do in this perspective is. We're gonna start fundraising we're gonna start using the money, and you say, all right, Pete, I want to put this money back into the capital reserve as. Earmarked towards purchasing new scoreboards for both the north and the south campuses basketball gyms, we can do that and earmark that money specifically for that. So that when we hit the certain number that they say, hey, this is how much it's gonna cost you to put a board like they have there in the gyms, we can go ahead and purchase them then. So we can do that if you guys so choose to do so. So. Okay.
I want to use my digital sign out front.
Well, I saw when you were moving your hand like that, I figured that was, I knew what you're moving your hand for when you were like that.
Stationary.
Well, when it came up like that with the thing, I just saw Wayne go like this.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's exactly, I knew what he was going. So, Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Also.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yep, I'll be in touch with you after the 23rd, but everything looks good for now. Okay, thank you.
So next we have district paper towel dispensers.
That was a recommendation of the PNF committee. Is
Why are we
anything-
doing paper towel dispensers? They're so dirty. Why can't we just get like those hand things? They're so much more sanitary.
I think these are the ones that, so the paper bid, I think, and Wayne probably talked to Rob about this at the PNF committee that was approved and moved forward. I think these are just better, these are better for the kids. They don't get damaged or whatever as easily. And we already had the paper towel bid that we bought paper towels for, and it's much cheaper. And we were able to save money over the long
Well,
haul.
we
This.
know these now versus before they.
Yeah, we were just leasing them, or we're not leasing them, we were committed to buying paper towels from this company, and they raised the prices of their paper towels.
That was my
Yeah.
understanding why.
Yeah, so this is,
Why we do the dispensers, just because the kids are ripping them off the walls anyway, so if we have the hand dryers, it's. like-
well, the hand dryers aren't as sanitary.
Really, the ones, the power ones that you just go like that in?
Oh, the ones that just go like that, and yeah, I still don't think the hand dryers are as sanitary. I think the recommendation is always use paper towels.
Really?
Yeah,
I hate them.
I
If they rip them off the wall, the kids.
The kid-
They spill for ripping off the wall.
Oh, trust me, they do.
yeah, they rip them off the wall, we still can't, I mean, it's hard to catch when people.
Because
do that.
there's no cameras in the bathroom.
Well, you can't use cameras in the bathroom. So, I know that.
No,
No.
then they could say that we're spying on.
No,
them
you
and
can't
then
use
have
cameras in the
things.
bathroom, it's not. So, yeah, I'm not, I think this is a fair, this is a good purchase, I don't.
And we're gonna go to 2A.
Yep.
The card swipe at the north bus lot, and the reason that was suggested is if a dispatcher goes in, they have to key it in or use the key, and the card swipe is an easy way for them to go in, now they can go to the bathroom, they can do what they need to do, and they can turn the card off very quickly if there's someone gets suspended or whatever, it's a lot easier to do that than to get a key back or to get a code, or to change all the codes, correct?
That's
We,
2A
yeah,
on the-
yes, the south bus garage. The bus drivers use a ID swipe to get into the office, to have access to the keys to the bus. Access to the bathroom facilities. They don't have that option. Up north with the bus garage, they have to wait for the dispatchers to arrive. Where they use a key and a key lock. So there's no reason why we can't do an ID swipe for these bus drivers up there to
I think it's. more secure.
facilitate them
Yeah, how long?
getting ready.
How long has that door been up there? Is that a new door?
Mm-mm,
No, that's always been like that?
yeah,
All right, I'll send an email to them to get that done, but just vote on it anyways and
Yeah,
we'll get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this on to the next board. I'm building a consensus.
Yeah, that's fine. And I don't even know if it needs to really be voted on because it's something that can get done, but I'll email them and just, but vote on it
I'm
anyways.
voting on it to make sure the
Right.
direction is provided.
Right, I would do that, yeah.
that we recognize that there's.
I don't
no-
even like this, what we did up there to start with. Putting that.
We made a mistake with
But-
the
but that-
alteration, but that's,
That's fine, but I would still vote,
And they didn't go to the board, they did everything wrong with that.
yeah, just vote on it as a committee to push it forward to the, just, you guys can vote on it to push it through and then I'll send an email out to them. I'm not here tomorrow.
we have.
I'm out of the office tomorrow, but I'll send an email to them. Yeah, I'll send an email out to them and I'll get that
All right,
taken care
so
of.
our next
Thank
item
you, Peter.
You're welcome.
is applications for payment for the invoices of MSE flooring, ESE flooring, High School South Field House, and North Phase 2 storm pipe. And can I just say that hole on the side of North is huge? I didn't realize they would excavate that far out. Oh my God.
That was
Have you been
stage
up
two.
there? Wait,
Yes,
have you seen the hole, Peter?
I have not,
Oh
no.
my God, it's huge. And I think that's why they had the smoke alarms going off up there, because there was so much dust from the digging and stuff. That's just what I thought, but I could be wrong.
you are wrong because there's more mud than there is dust.
But it was flying the other day, but my glasses got dirty.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, the only question I have on the payment of bills is I know that phase 1 storm pipe is in here for payment of bills.
Oh, that's the last bill that, remember you asked about that?
Yeah, I realize that.
Yeah.
Why are we, I mean, I know that the job was completed a year ago.
Mhm.
So you're telling me Rutledge, for whatever reason, never submitted for final payment?
There was a dispute between Josh and Rutledge And that was,
Josh and Rutledge.
or between, because Josh didn't want to, there was a Rutledge, my understanding is, and this, I could be wrong on this, but I could double check, but they didn't, when the bill came in, there was an issue with how the Rutledge billed it, and that they wanted to go back and, they were going back and forth on it for some reason. And it was just the final resolution of them going back and forth on it, so that this bill is good to be paid.
So what you're saying then is Josh failed to communicate that with the board during the past year.
Or with Peter.
I don't know if he failed to communicate it or if he was just doing his
Well, I
due
mean, I'm
diligence.
just now being made aware of the fact that there was a dispute regarding final payment, when I personally know that the job was done a year ago.
Well, we ask constantly when we go over the.
Yeah. Well, I know that it was done because,
Oh, well, it certainly was done because you don't have an outstanding thing for a year.
Right, so I just thought it was odd that their final payment, and there is a insignificant $12,000 change order, which I don't understand, but
And that could have been part of the going back and forth on it as well, too, was part of the discussion.
well, then our school engineer has an obligation to communicate when he's having a dispute with one of our contractors.
So I could reach out to make sure that I'm correct on all those facts, and I could communicate that out via an email once I get that information back. But from my understanding is the bill's legit and it's okay to be paid. I asked that to be sure, because I don't like paying a bill.
And I'm not looking to withhold money from.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I also like to make sure that things are legitimate because it is a year out. So.
Still have that outstanding final payment for the north gym floor that we've never paid.
That's gonna be, we could, I think that we can close that one out because,
They're not gonna do anything.
they're not, no, I think our guys finished it and they tried that particular, company tried to bill us and I told them we're not paying
And
anymore.
it was because
They
the floor
didn't-
was uneven.
Yeah,
They
the
didn't
floor,
select-
Unless they choose to fix or finish.
I know.
no, it wasn't, no, our guys,
Okay.
our own guys finished, yeah, so I think that was the thing that, and you could ask Daryl and Rob about that, but I'm 99% sure that was the company that was trying to bill us. and
Yeah,
make sure
Hope
that-
Flooring was trying to do something with the lip. and the
Yeah,
flooring.
yeah. Right, now, I think that was one of the first things I settled when I came in back in May, when I first started in
Okay.
back 2023.
That's still showing up on that.
Yeah, that should be taken out, taken out, so we'll update that.
All right.
Any other questions in regards to that?
No.
Okay, then we have some recommendations from the Education Programs and Resources Committee. We have Acadians renewal K-6 for the 24-25 school year, and it's fully funded by an ESSER 3 grant. And the purchase of robotic items for intermediate electives, so they're just anything robotic for their classes that they teach at Lehman and JTL, and also for the robotic competitions that they do. The program is fully funded from our curriculum budget, and that's $8,471.06. Any questions on those two items?
No.
What's the one for the 23,000?
Oh, that's a system that we already use, the Acadians, I'll pull it up for you, hold on.
It says we.
K-6.
Yeah, we-
2,800 of them, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the $2,800, yeah, $2,800, that's for all of our students from K-6, it's a digital reading license. So that what they do is they charge us for all the kids in K-6 for all of our
Okay, so-
elementaries.
So we're 2,800 kids, K-6.
That's
Yeah.
basically an estimate, that's a rough estimate, yeah, it's not the exact number, so I wouldn't take that to the bank.
Charge say 45 a piece.
Yeah, right, so it's not a direct number, it's a rough estimate.
Anyway,
So if we have more students, we may have to buy more, but I think that was a rough estimate at the time they
Yeah,
did it.
and we've been using them for a while.
Yes,
And it's a software program?
Yeah.
yes, it's a digital
Online reading.
yeah, it's online reading,
Oh,
yeah.
online reading.
Yeah.
And Devin Colson is that a teacher?
No, she is she's one of the secretaries in the curriculum and instruction office here at Central Min.
Oh, okay.
Like, I recognize that phone number.
Yeah, she's one of the secretaries here in the admin office.
And then next,
And then we had
we have public participation.
I don't see anybody online for comment.
Larry?
So when you get to the advisory recommendations, I would recommend that you, if you guys wanted to vote on, making an agenda item for the Evolve security.
Okay, we'll move that forward. Okay.
Yeah, to vote on moving that forward along with the,
North.
yeah.
And also the TD loan.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be number one, but the Evolve security wasn't an agenda item, but if you guys want to move it forward, you can make it.
Chief Mills, you're definitely gonna check on that grant.
What's the agenda item?
It was just a discussion thing though, wasn't it?
It is a federal grant. It was a bill specifically for school safety. And I'm pretty sure it's equipment kind of like this right here.
I bet you we can go back online to the archives and watch Good Morning America from today to see what it was.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting
Well, what we
segment.
talked about the last time, I don't know if it was a operating facility meeting. Was it that we talked about or was it the last finance meeting?
And it was the lease
Security.
Peter, we want to do it. We want the lease.
You're the police.
Was it last finance or the last?
Yeah, we're
property
talking about
facility?
last month,
Yeah,
volleyball.
and we're staying like that, talking about it.
Yeah,
And I know
And you said it would be expensive, you were right.
This morning,
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
It was this morning. It was really interesting.
it's gonna become more and more prevalent the more we have
Well,
incidences. at
They,
schools.
it was adopted in 2022 and it's a nationwide.
They think it's like 12 to 15 schools took advantage of it.
Yes.
I saw
which-
that.
And of course, a lot of schools are like this, they referred to it as a platform and the application process was so
Cumbersome.
difficult, cumbersome, that they surrendered to it.
Yeah. You're very lucky, Angela.
Mhm.
She can maneuver through those things.
So, but there's a lot of money there,
That's how we got the money for it.
lot.
Training for national. What's
So-
the better grant?
I think we're eligible like everyone else. So, do it.
I'll get it, I'll call them.
So, okay, so our recommendations to move forward, let's start with the TD loan for the buses.
Yes.
And hopefully, when the feds meet, the rate goes down,
Yeah,
so I believe Rick, let me know. You guys. will
So
say-
moved.
second,
Perfect, okay. And then we're going to move forward the lease option for the Evolve pending a grant, hopefully,
which one was that?
the security system pending grant.
I'm sorry, but do we have to, all in favor?
Yeah,
we have to vote on number one first, you have to vote on the first one, you
I
said.
did, I said, everyone good?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah,
because they said 1 and 2 and I figured, okay, me, I'm good too. So.
oh, okay.
Tricia knows that silence was all in favor.
Oh, 3-0, yeah.
Yeah, Rich left the flap, yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
and then and we're gonna, do we want to include in there pending the grant or not?
You don't have to, we could just, if we get to Monday on the 23rd, if there's a grant application pending or working on a grant, we could just table it and wait till
Okay.
October.
So I'll remove pending grant.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, then so you could do it under that understanding, and then I will educate you guys in executive session before we come out.
Or do we want to talk about it at the board meeting?
Well, we're gonna.
No, I would put it forward so that the board is prepared to vote on it to activate it, so that if we can put the purchase it, so that if we have a grant ready to go, we don't have to.
Rocco,
Plus, with all the public interest of what happened in Georgia.
Yeah,
This would be, because I've already had people ask me.
you might have people, exactly, you might have, this would be good to have it on the agenda. And then if Angela says we can go ahead and purchase it, with the grant pending, we can do that, you know what I mean?
Well,
Or I could have options for you too as well.
And there were a lot of people complaining about how long it took South to get through the
Metal detectors.
Yeah, and the bag search. and all that.
and you know what? That doesn't bother.
No,
I'd rather we are safe than.
Yeah, that doesn't bother.
But if we can let the people know that we're working on it.
Yes.
So that will solve.
Right.
Well, the beauty with a functional website, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's another way. Let's
Don't even get me going.
I'm not. That's why I smile. That's why I smile. That's it.
I can't find anything on there anymore.
I know.
And it's
You're not alone.
And it's not just, not this recorder, but not that it was what was presented at Education Programs and Resources is not what it looks like.
It's, that's a discussion for another time, but I'd recommend that we talk about it at a
Come on,
different
you know
time.
me.
No, yeah, so I know, but I do think that we just go forward with it without that language with depending the grant, and then
Yeah.
at the 23rd, if we need to table it, we could table it and move it forward then.
Hey, Rocco.
Yeah, but
alluded to
we
the
should
fact
discuss,
that-
but we should discuss it so people know we are.
Yeah, exactly, so I was
Rocco alluded to the fact that this equipment is,
needed.
no, alluded to the fact that this is the type of equipment
That's
that
covered.
is eligible for.
It
this.
is, it is, no, I know it is.
So,
So we'll talk with Angela, and we'll get a plan in place for that,
All right,
grant
the
wise.
Next item is our high school, North High School, South digital scoreboards.
Or all the P and F committee stuff that was
Yep.
recommended.
So we have that.
so
And we have the pricing because that was in there, right?
Yep. Yeah, you
And-
have to vote on that, don't you?
Yeah. Each or?
You wanna do them all
Sorry.
together?
do a motion for that?
the
All in
second,
favor?
well, can I have a quick discussion?
Yep,
Yes,
I want to make sure that E ESYA,
gets trained.
ES has the
And anybody else that uses any campus.
Yeah.
The
the ability to get trained so that they have access to the scoreboard during their use of the stadium.
yes,
And if
you
anybody
will
uses
ensure,
stadium,
yeah, we will.
I don't want to
ensure-
hinder a nonprofit organization.
We will get them trained on whatever they need to get trained on.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All right, Randy Litz.
Okay. District paper towel dispensers, 32,900,
So move.
favor?
Aye.
Wait,
Even though you said not to add it, but we're gonna add the.
no, I would still vote on it.
Okay, add the card swipe option to replace the key up at the north bus lot,
So move.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to move forward the payment of bills listed,
You may want to put on that, course, right, it's for access for the bus drivers.
Yeah.
So they don't have to wait.
For the North Bus Garage.
Yeah.
It's just so we have it in the minutes.
Yeah.
But Trish, I'm really looking to add this to the next board meeting, that's all.
it will be. Motion to approve the bills presented and the change orders,
So move.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to approve the two items recommended by the Education Programs and Resources, that's the Acadians renewal and the robotics
So,
equipment.
Second. Aye.
Our next meeting is Monday, October 14th.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing. Patricia always gets me if I got the wrong date.
you won't have it.
Yeah, so it's Tuesday, right?
No, it's Monday.
Monday, are we having it Tuesday? Or are we good on Monday, Columbus Day?
We're here.
We're working, we have
open,
kids
yeah.
at school.
Yeah, we have kids at school, so I thought we were good.
That's
so-
what me too, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same.
Yeah, that's what I thought, so I thought we're good, so.
And I don't have to work that day.
We couldn't do it yesterday because we had three, what did that?
Yeah, we had 3 meetings, so that's why we moved it to today, so yeah, so we're good on the 12th, so we're good.
CTI and.
Right.
APR.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you were good, George, you're the man.
And
It's
this,
gonna be a busy week.
Yeah, because I was thinking in my head that it was gonna be the 7th, but it's not, which is good because that's parent teacher conferences.
No, I double checked the date.
No, I know, the 7th is parent teacher, that's why I said it's good for me because.
Oh, we're good.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
okay.
worried that I'd have to be at.
I just don't want to make a mistake. Usually
I was
catch
gonna,
me.
if it was that day, I was
Seventh
going
is
to.
Also,
The PhD
CTI.
Mhm,
We couldn't get that.
that's right, yep,
No, we're good.
conference to PSB.
yes.
Oh. Are we good to adjourn?
Yeah, I was just checking to make sure that there was no soccer, because if there was, I was gonna say move it to north, but there is no soccer. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So.
second.
All in favor?
Hey.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, sir.